right, I will call to order the Village Council regular meeting Tuesday, September 12th, 2023 at 7 p.m. If you could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, could you call the roll, please?
Lori Bourgeau,
Present.
Kelsey Cook,
Here.
Allison Kemp,
Here.
Maureen Helmer,
Yes.
Jacob Nicosia,
Here.
Item number 4, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda. Support.
Motion made by Nicosia, seconded by Hellman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nay? Motion carries. Number 5 on the agenda is a presentation. We'll turn it over to Chief Solo.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
I am proud to make an announcement today for a promotion for Corporal James Somers. Just going to read this for James. I mean, there's so much I could say about James. He's been around for such a long time. He started with our Explorer program back in the 90s. He's been a reserve with us for many years. But just to stay on track, his promotion rank as Reserve Sergeant that he's been being promoted to today. James has been a volunteer with Oxford since high school. In the 90s, he was part of the Young Explorers program that I mentioned, until he was able to join the Reserve program. James grew up in the Oxford area and currently lives here with his family. James continues to find many ways to help our community. Not only does he hold down a full-time job, he also recently was elected to the Oxford School Board, along with providing a service as a reserve officer to help with many needs in our community. James also works as our village IT support person. So he's a jack of all trades, so he does a lot for us, and I really rely on that. So again, I'm proud to announce that, and I'm proud to have you as my reserve sergeant, so thank you for all your hard work, and congratulations. Thank you, Chief. Thank you very much. I think you want to get some photos. No, it wasn't him, it was, yeah.
Chief,
He has some
Sarah
photos.
there.
Hey, I'm sorry.
Quick photo
Yes.
with me. Perfect, got it.
Thank you.
No speech by James?
Yeah, there you go. Say nice things about
It's been, right, I just came from my other council meeting. No, it's been a pleasure serving the community, right? Our area is great, it's grown, the changes that we've had over the years and stuff. Started with the Citizens Academy when I was 17, started with Explorers. Been at the police department, was a 911 dispatcher, kind of a little bit of everything. There's something very unique here in this community. And to volunteer to give the time back and to be able to help and serve everybody, I mean, obviously you guys feel it and do it as well. So it's nice to do it. It's hard to believe it's been over 25 years doing it. So I'm looking forward for the next 25, Lord willing. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to public comment. If anyone would like to speak during public comment, please approach the podium.
Hello, Ashley Ross, 16 Pontiac Street, right over there. Two things. So the first, the paint color, I wanted to come and see for the building back there, since I'm one of the neighbors that will be most affected, but seems like a good choice, so as long as we're not going neon green. Yeah, I might not hate that, but all sounds good, so I appreciate that, choosing some nice colors to fit with the neighborhood. The second thing, item, what is it? Sorry, 9C. So I just wanted to let everyone know that I was here. I'd be happy to chat about it. I do serve on the Economic Vitality Committee with the DDA, previously serving on council. I'm aware of the lighting situation on the request from the DDA. As well, my background is in museums and historic preservation, so you have a copy of my resume. I apologize, I didn't have enough time in the day to put together a memo, but I was able, especially after seeing and understanding exactly how the lighting is going to be attached, I was able to do a little bit of research on my end, but also chat with some of my museum and conservation colleagues And as presented, I see no issues with how it will be attached. I really appreciate the Historical Society and their concerns of being really good stewards of our buildings, so thank you for that and all the concerns. I can go into more details later when it's presented and we're on topic, but I just want to say it here, and as I see it, if there were any issues, I would also be able to, pop on the roof and help with that as well in the removal process, so thank you.
Thank you very much.
Can I throw a quick public comment out?
Sure.
I would normally address this to a member of the fire department, but there's no one here, so I'll direct it to Pete Shepherd.
Sweat chiefs here. Wow, thanks.
Oh, let me tell you something about my glasses. They really don't work much. August 3rd, hell of a nice job. You guys probably saved my life. I just want you guys to know you did a great job.
I will pass it on. Thank you.
I'm not sure who was in the ambulance because I don't remember much. So you check who was on that run. And don't sit so far away from me because my glasses don't work that far. But I was going to thank Pete, who probably helped train some of those guys.
Thank you. Any other public comment this evening? We'll have another opportunity later on in the agenda. So we'll move on to the consent agenda item number 7. Is there a motion to receive and file 7A?
Make a motion to receive and file 7A, 1 and 2.
Support. Motion made by Helmut, seconded by Kemp. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nay? Motion carries. Okay, 7B, please.
I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda 7B, 1, 2, and 3, including the bills in the amount of $316,121.52.
Support.
Motion made by Helmut, supported by Bourgeau. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Bourgeau,
Yes.
Helmut,
Yes.
Nicosia,
Yes.
Kemp,
Yes.
Cook.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you. Move on to item 8, unfinished old business. 8A is the residential inspection ordinance. I know at our last meeting we spoke about this. We've been talking about it for quite a while, actually. And it looks like there's a couple revisions to the, revisions or edits to the proposed ordinance.
We've been talking about this since you were in high school.
It's a really long time.
But we made some cleanups, and I think what you, the council have been looking for is to see a standalone ordinance related to residential rental inspection and keep it separate from the registration portion. We made sure everything was appropriate under the definitions, and then we spent some time making sure the wording on section 10, the inspection scope was accurate. I think if we were going to focus on anything, we would make sure that we have that right for you, the scope of the inspection, because I know that's been the subject of a lot of concern. Balance of the ordinance is, it gets a little bit routine. And the ending of the ordinance ensures that the ordinance complies with some of the concerns that came out of the federal court system involving, not having just unfettered entry rights into people's homes, and that in situations where it's necessary, you have to go to court and obtain an order. And that language is in there to make sure we're in compliance with that case law.
Is that's what it is referenced as a warrant, so
Yeah.
it's still considered a warrant?
Yeah. So that case law was raised years ago in Ohio, and so we just make sure we're in compliance. So Joe, any?
The fees, and I think, and I sorry Kelsey, I did see a note of yours last time to share the fee schedule with you. We kind of revamped our fee schedule because it was just enormous and huge, but it encompassed many things. I don't know if I emailed that to you folks at all recently. If not, I will. So on that fee schedule, you guys can choose and you can make adjustments without having to affect the ordinance, right? So that's the obvious reason to have it, any fees related to that. We talked about those fees last time. with McKenna. There was a small markup on there, and Allison said she would prefer to be not a $5 or $10 markup on their cost. And it was, didn't have to do with, 200, I think it was, but it included the first two. And we were gonna maybe put like a $5 or $10 markup on it, just to help cover some admin costs. Conversation that night was, prefer to just maybe leave it our direct cost. McKenna? That fee can be adjusted or discussed at any time after this is in place, so.
I have, one question about section 10-107 fees. It's on page 4. It's, the second sub B, I guess. It says if an inspection is initiated by a complaint, no violations found to exist, no inspection fee will be assessed. So how is that expense then paid for? Well, that's just paid from the general fund? So everybody else pays for it?
So on B, the point there, yes, I see what you're saying. So if there's a complaint that a violation is found to exist, they would be charged an inspection fee. If there isn't one, then there would not be a fee.
Right.
You're asking how does that get paid for?
Yeah, because they're gonna go out and check for a violation. So work's being done, but we're saying we're not gonna charge a fee if it wasn't
We're
justified.
gonna have to absorb that.
Okay.
That point came up a long time ago, and I forget who raised it, but it was a valid point a long time ago when we were working on this, that, hey, there's a complaint, and our expert goes out there and says it's not a valid complaint, that person shouldn't be assessed an inspection fee. And I think that made some sense.
All right, Mr. Monroe.
And in the past, when we've had these come up where someone, a renter, obviously would come to us and say, the air ducts aren't working, or this isn't working, or that's not working. Our building official can sometimes connect with them, and either electrical inspector, mechanical inspector, or the three of them doing a health safety inspection. And they did that in the course of their normal inspections, didn't incur cost. Versus sending out the rental inspector guy and say, go do this free rental inspection. And sometimes they're calling about something that it could be just a window that doesn't open properly anymore. So it's a different thing, it's not specifically noted in here. So sometimes we can cut off that cost on the front end and handle it internally while the test is already here, versus pivoting automatically to the rental inspection person who want out and re-inspect or do that inspection. Sometimes it's something very specific. So if so, we can maybe just that specific thing in internal cost too.
So to council, I mean, is this what we are looking for? I mean, so I'm not in favor of it anyway, but if we're gonna have something, like, this seems a lot more like policing powers, almost to an extent, when you can have residents call in to report things that their landlords aren't taking care of. I thought it was, the intent was it to be, rentals are inspected to make sure they're suitable living conditions initially, and then every 3 years. And now we're kind of getting into a lot more of, I don't know how often it'll be taken advantage of, but if we have people calling the village all the time because they have an issue with their rentals, just I put it to council, is that what we want?
I think people can already call in all the time and ask,
Okay,
why does my roof leak? Why is my chimney leaking?
that's true.
Why are my handrails falling off the side of my, I mean, they can do that now, and we're gonna send somebody out.
We do
And-
send people over to check on that kind of stuff?
There are times, we currently have a situation with the apartment, not the large complex, not a small individual, but a smaller complex in town, where there was some water issues going on. And a tenant called up to our code enforcement, and he said, well, it doesn't affect us yet, but he had reached out to the management company, he's trying to work with them. Another resident called, same thing, maybe it was although it's a 2-story building. We're trying to just help around the edges. Dan actually visited the management company because it's near his home in Orion Township, and told them, look, you guys need to address this. We're getting calls. We don't want to get involved. If we do, then it gets messy, and then we have to look at ordinance violations and stuff. And they have now been there and addressing the problem, tearing in the wall, looking at where the leak might be coming in and causing the problem. So we're kind of refereeing to the point on that one.
Okay, so it would be, this would give village more teeth, obviously, because we could not be referee, we'd actually be sending someone out, and then if the claims, then the owner gets charged every time we go out, so that's how I'm reading it.
Yeah, but just a couple doors from us a few years ago, there was an issue like that, and we had to come over and address a couple of steps, something on the front of the building that had the landlord then had to fix them. The tenant was afraid she was gonna leave, under duress and that, deposits back and things like that, so we handled it for him, made sure those corrections were made.
Any comments or questions from council?
I think it's just a great place to start. And it'll get us going and get us into these rentals and maybe they're all beautiful. They're not. But maybe it's fewer than we think. Maybe we can just hope it's fewer than we think.
I'm also hoping that once you establish the baseline in here with the rental inspections, that does kind of cut down a little bit on what we were just discussing with Paul too. So it should be only incidental stuff.
And if they're doing these, 7 things, why not go ahead and fix that 8th thing that we didn't mention?
So last meeting, we moved to schedule this for a first reading, so this is the first reading. Okay. So what would be the next step then to move this forward? A motion for a second reading on the next agenda?
Yeah.
No, motion tonight to
Accept.
accept it for first reading,
Okay.
and then when you set it for a second reading and hearing, you know, just, you know, you always, you know you can always revisit your ordinances, so this, you know you're not in favor of it, but you know it can be revisited at any time.
Did I say an ordinance? Oh, 418. Is 418 the correct number? No.
420, when I said one.
418. This one's been around for a while. I do believe 418 is the correct number.
I think we already used 420.
Yeah, that's,
I think
yeah.
that's fair.
That's the food truck ordinance.
So when you get the munchies, we're going to
Cover our bases.
If there's no other questions, I'll make a motion to approve the first reading of the rental inspection ordinance.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Helmut, seconded by Nicosia. Any discussion? I just have some editing. Can I send to you? After?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Sounds good.
Would you like us to schedule the second reading?
Just set it for your next meeting. We'll make sure it's on the agenda.
Is there time to get it in the papers by then?
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Okay, roll call vote please.
Helmut,
Yes.
Kemp,
Yes.
Nicosia,
Yes.
Bordeaux,
No.
Cook.
No. Motion carries. 8B, ordinance number 420, second reading, local food establishment ordinance. All right, so this one we spoke about last time as well, last meeting, and we discussed the time limitation of having a food truck in the village and put in for no more than 8 hours to try to prevent folks from kind of setting up and just leaving something somewhere, which makes sense given the nature of a mobile food establishment, that it wouldn't be left for too long. So that addition was made. There was some other language that was struck regarding having to have all of the food and supplies basically stored within it or attached. And then I have a couple of questions about section 2, the administration and mobile food establishment permit application. So I know that this ordinance is to make sure, it says right in the purpose, safe and orderly operation in the village. But are we also talking about, then we get into like an application with the village. Are we regulating the food truck operations, like where and when they can be in the village, or should that be something separate? It seems a little bit out of place in this because the permits are reviewed annually, and then all of a sudden we're saying you need to have an application with the village, and you know, permission and stuff like that, so.
For the most part, this is addressing food trucks on private property.
Okay,
Because currently, the way we have our special event application, when it was put together in 2018, food trucks now fell under, if they were parades or food trucks or races and things like that, all fell under special event application. So I've looked at that the last few years. If a food truck was going to come set up in a public space, then they would trigger the special event application. This will address those on private property. And they would still, at this point, unless we make some kind of change to that ordinance, they would have to do a special event if it was going to want to set up on our property. We could tweak that and remove that out of there, but that's the way that was already in place under the special event application. So for the most part, if someone says, you know, they're gonna set up on private property at Burdick Street Equipment, you know, if they're in the village of Oxford, they need this sticker and this approval and stuff. Or, you know, someone's gonna have an open house somewhere.
I don't know, for me, reading it, if we just make it clear that the permit application with the village, the event application is for purposes of setting up on,
Private property.
for public,
I'm sorry.
yeah, public property, and then I think that would be helpful, just because,
Just clarify that.
yeah, I think, just reading through it, I would be confused as to like whether I need an event application for village, even though it's on, I mean, it makes sense when you go to the event application, you're gonna see that it's not for a private event, but
Yeah.
it just kind of pops out of nowhere to me on this, so. Any thoughts or questions?
I do still kind of worry about the 8 hours. Just being limited a little too much. But that's my only concern with it, is
Can I speak to that and clarify some of that? So on that
Yeah.
section that Kelsey referenced before, number G before, section 1G, that talked about food and being sold or displayed outside of the mobile food establishment. Because initially, the first draft we had, which is the township draft, that it was prohibited from being displayed or outside of the food truck or food establishment. You know? And we thought, well, sometimes people, their trucks full, they want to set stuff outside or things like that. So that was kind of what I was trying to address, and that's what that particular part addresses. That, I know we did just talk about how long should they be allowed to leave it overnight, things like that too. But that particular section is speaking to the dining areas and preparation and storage of food, where it says shall not be sold or displayed outside of the mobile food establishment. That's, I put for more than 8 hours in there as a discussion point last month, because we talked about that. So, again, they may come with their food truck, it's full of stuff, and they wanna set some of the stuff outside around while they're operating, and then put stuff back in and leave. The way it was written initially is they weren't allowed to do any of that outside. And I thought, well, maybe it's reasonable to allow them to set it up while the 4 or 5 hours that they're in town.
But not more than 8 hours.
Yes, but we should put some kind of, again, then we pivoted to, well, yes, but let's say they stayed overnight, and we do something the following day, we don't want that stuff sitting out all night.
So in theory, they could operate for 12 hours,
I don't know if we
but all
had,
their stuff has to be inside?
I don't know if there's an issue, I don't know if it's stated in here, I don't believe it is, that of a time frame when they can set up, or they can't operate 24/7 or whatever. The only thing
But
I,
their stuff has to be inside.
right, the way it was written initially is preparation and storage, food shall not be prepared, sold, displayed outside a mobile food establishment, period. And then it talks about below, they must be stored within a mobile food establishment, if an enclosed container, and condiments may be displayed on a shelf and attached to mobile food. It was a little micromanaging, I thought. But yet nevertheless, do we want to allow them to store some of that stuff, materials, condiments, whatever, outside of it while they're operating or not? Because the way it was written initially in the draft was it was not allowed to be prepared, sold, or displayed outside. Now, Kelsey, you mentioned last month, if they're setting up a tent outside, then that's a food truck.
Yeah, I don't see that, or even
But-
like a little,
Yeah, you had a good example.
Yeah.
I mean, that one.
Heroes Pizza.
Yeah, right, and then I was
They
thinking
don't have a
about
truck.
the little like coffee trailer that goes around, and they have like a little table and stuff that they set out, I don't really, that doesn't really
So-
fall within this definition either, because they're not cooking,
Right.
unless you consider.
So they may not even be in, and considered a food truck establishment, because they're not, they don't have that definition. But for those who do,
Mhm.
the original draft prohibited them from having anything else like a food truck, maybe some condiments on a shelf attached to the vehicle.
Okay, sorry, now I'm digesting it as well. So there is, right now, I misread, I am now, when I'm rereading section G, from what I understand, as of right now, we do not have a time limit set up for how long they can be parked in one place, period.
Yeah, I don't.
And I think it was the feeling of council that we did want to have some sort of time limit that they could be set up in general.
Yeah, like no overnight parking perhaps,
Okay.
you know. I don't know when that would take place, but maybe.
Yeah, we're concerned about a food truck turning into a permanent
Restaurant.
restaurant.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you don't have any limitations in there, then what's to stop them?
So
But
my,
again, that would be on private property, but still,
Right.
it could be parked in, whatever, a car wash parking lot or something. Say they're there, now they're there all summer.
yeah, my thought on this is if they're part of a special event which may last overnight, well, then we can grant them that
Right.
variance with that special event. But I think the spirit of this was really just not to get people camping long-term, because we gotta be able to establish the differences between restaurants, tents, so on and so forth. So I think maybe the 8 hours is less important and more about, like, it could be 12 as far as we're concerned, just as long as they don't have their stuff outside of their truck for 2-3 days, setting up permanent structures, so on and so forth.
Okay, and that time frame was strictly related to them setting their supplies or food rather than preparing it outside of the vehicle.
In section 1, I, 1, 2, and 3, I just, is there a way to make it really clear that they cannot utilize the village dumpsters? Those dumpsters are paid for by the downtown businesses. I don't think it's fair to the other restaurants that they throw their food, their waste into there. I know it says they're supposed to take care of it, but throwing it in the dumpster is taking care of it, but I don't want them using our dumpsters.
Yeah, number 2 does say they're properly and lawfully disposed of, but unless you spell it out there that it's prohibited from utilizing public receptacles, then they might assume that that's fine.
Right.
Is it possible that we just have something in here that says, basically says that when you're applying for this, that the village will provide details on any solutions? Is there something we can put on here that says, hey, when you apply for this, we're gonna tell you you can't just use the dumpster that belongs to somebody else kind of thing? Because I don't know if we need to put it specifically in here, but I do think we should be having that discussion with them at the application time.
Which leads me to the other part. In many cases where it was Oxford Township and I replaced it with Village of Oxford. But then there were some cases where it had the fire department listed and I put it and or us as far as like controlling the parking areas and things like that. Chiefs are patrolling those areas and I think they're just better suited to maintain and tell people you can't park there. But I may have missed over that one where it talks about the application that they apply at the fire department, which is fine, but then how are they then going to answer some of those questions? So I don't know if it's better that they apply here than we just forward it to them and they do their inspection. I know if they're a turnkey thing, they apply at the fire department, they do the inspections, they give them their sticker, I presume what it is, and then they're good to go. Because again, they have a large area to do, to cover. And we want to make it simple. One-stop shop would be nice.
Yeah, wouldn't it be caught during the special events application? So if they're gonna use the food truck on public property in the village, then they would get that, and we could let them know that. Look,
They also need the food truck permit.
Right,
Right.
yes, they'd already have gotten permission from the fire department, but, you know,
Yeah.
certified from the fire department, and then we would give them more information. Because I definitely, when I personally go to food trucks, I don't see like their own trash cans out. Everybody just throws it in the villages.
Right, and we've had a problem with it already. And and Sick Pizza, when he got his trailer up and running, he was at the concerts down there, and the next morning they were full. And I spoke to Scott, and I said, look, we're getting ready, we're looking at this thing, probably gonna be passed eventually. It'd be nice if you did your own. And Don Brandon, he said, hey, I don't care if you bag them all up and sit them on the sidewalk or somewhere near the trash containers. We'll come by in the morning, like we do every morning, clean it up and changing trash out, we'll pick them up and toss them out, no problem. We just don't wanna see their cans mushroom over and file all over the ground. And so for that instance, it was just acceptable. Hey, you bag it all up, make sure your stuff is there, and, you know, he provided with the container, he bagged it and he left it. But again, that was a public DDA event that he was part of at the public park, village property. And so that was kind of slightly different than some of these who might get a food truck and set up down there. Well, we had to set up down at the Marketplace Mall this summer. We didn't have any, it didn't rise to a special event application because it was on private property, and we didn't have a food truck ordinance, so it was no fuss, no fuss to us. And if they were to let a mess down there, that mess is on their property. So I guess we're not as concerned about it on private property, because whoever owns the property should be responsible if their food truck vendor leaves a mess. They're responsible to make it clean for the property owner.
I don't feel like it necessarily has to be part of the ordinance, but, it does feel like maybe, especially Terry, I know you kind of organizing that, if there's something that you could maybe even create like a little brochure and give it to chief, and then when they have the applications, it can just kind of have like this little, hey, we'd like you to take care of your trash, remove it from scene, or, you know, if it's gonna be at a certain location, you bag it, you know, just kind of, just some little rules like that. Maybe to kind of share that between the two, or even just say, hey, if you have questions about things like trash removal or village services, contact our offices at this number, just something simple like that that can maybe, because I don't know that it necessarily needs to be, we don't need to micromanage everything, but we do need to open that line of communication. I think that's just the most important thing.
I agree that we could, you know, we could give them a pamphlet and open that line of communication, but if it's not in the ordinance, they're not, like, there's no reason for them to follow the rule.
Well, the current ordinance, you know, on waste container, they must be equipped with sufficient garbage or refuse containers to handle their waste, including one for their patrons. And that's pretty clear, right? And then second, each day they have to be responsible that it's cleaned and collected and lawfully disposed of. That's pretty clear, I think, in my opinion. I think what Mo was suggesting at the beginning of this conversation was, could you put a comma and say, and in no case shall you use dumpsters that are the property of others, and that we could add. But I like the idea that you're saying you got to come to the party equipped to manage your waste on a daily basis.
It is part of the, you know, it's part of the state licensing. You're supposed to have a trash
Yeah.
can, you're supposed to take care of your trash, you're supposed
And
to
then you
dump
and
your
then
water the proper way.
Yeah, and then you adequately you adequately address the dumping of fluids, and then, you know, you have a stipulation in here, they're not hooked up to, you know, septic or sewer in any way. They're supposed to be self-contained in all of their operations.
Alright, the last concern I have, this is going back to what Kelsey was saying, and I would like to be clear what a food truck is. Because to me, a coffee stand would fall in this vein, and I wouldn't expect a firefighter or police officer, whoever's enforcing the ordinance, to be out there splitting hairs about what and what needs to have a permit. I think that would be very difficult for them to.
Allison, the first thing that you said, do you think coffee stands shouldn't be part of this?
I would call it, they should be part of
Okay,
this.
I wasn't sure what you said.
Well, in your definition, you say it has to be a licensed and operable motor vehicle trailer.
It's not one of those, it's not.
Right.
That's your first starting ground, and then the rest is which includes blah, blah, blah. But if it doesn't, if it's not a licensed and operable motor vehicle or trailer, it is not a mobile food establishment.
Okay, and there was, forgive me, I am hazy on the details. What we were discussing, a specific, we were discussing the pizza
Right.
Yeah, that's
last time, and there was something about that, that because it's under a tent, this isn't applicable to them? Remember-
Perhaps, they show up
remember
with a
correctly?
trailer, they have a licensed trailer.
Okay.
You are remembering correctly.
They have a
But I
licensed
think they
trailer.
had a licensed trailer,
Okay.
and then they would do the pizza under the tent. right?
But if they don't have that,
They aren't covered by this.
they aren't covered by this.
I'm not sure if I agree, because it says which includes any commercial kitchen equipment used for cooking.
But the which includes has to be linked to the license and operable motor vehicle or trailer.
Yeah, so let's use the pizza. So they have a trailer, it has a license plate on it. It doesn't include commercial kitchen equipment. It's a pizza oven that I could buy tomorrow and use in my house, to be honest. And so, I guess, and then the coffee one, it's a licensed trailer. Is their espresso machine commercial kitchen equipment? Maybe that's just something the fire department figures out.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure. And so I do think it's confusing, but maybe it doesn't matter to us.
I think it's being used for commercial purpose,
Right.
and it should count.
Okay, so maybe that's the key word, which includes kitchen equipment used for commercial purpose. Would that be a good change to make, Bob, or is this kind of like a standard definition under the law elsewhere?
This is what we gleaned elsewhere, it was language from other.
We started off with the township version and we're working out of that.
Yeah, I almost feel like if we just switched it around to includes any kitchen equipment used for commercial purposes,
That would-
rather than commercial kitchen equipment, I think that would,
So kitchen equipment used for commercial purposes,
including cooking that
including
operates.
cooking that operates in.
It's like you're a lawyer.
Yeah, I don't think the fire department wants to be calling the lawyer to about it.
Is this a food truck or not?
Yeah.
I know, I just,
No, I
Yeah.
completely understand what
Well,
you're saying.
I think you're doing the community a service here by making it clear.
yeah, I just wouldn't know,
Yeah,
so
no.
I think it's a little bit nitpicky, but will help in the long run.
Yeah, no, I completely respect you're our resident lawyer other than, so I.
I'm not wearing that hat tonight.
No. Shouldn't put that on you.
What's that hat on the way to work?
Yeah,
Do you go to work anymore, Kelsey?
I do, I'm actually in the office 3 days a week.
Wow.
Good for you, it might be cutting back.
Sometimes 5, yeah.
All right, so, given this discussion, I tend to think we're not ready to approve this for second reading tonight. And that we should put it on for second reading at the next meeting.
Is there harm in waiting another month? I mean, is this?
No. I don't. Joe?
So under Article 4 permits too, that we talked about, and I know the village or the township's already recognized that as these mobile vendors go around the county, and they're getting 25 stickers around, and all have to drive up here, two things. If a countywide permit became available, would we recognize it? And I guess if a countywide one doesn't happen, what about, would you recognize one? If they give it to Lake Orion in August, are we gonna make them get one here in September? If they get one in, in Ortonville, are we gonna make, is there gonna be some reciprocity?
Do you want to have Oakland County reciprocity?
I would think so. I mean,
Because it was
See,
very
for the county,
burdensome.
It would just be hard.
That was some of the concerns,
I wouldn't trust them.
the restaurant, the brewery that utilizes one on a regular basis. Their concern was now these people are gonna have to drive up here 3 days in advance, get their inspection, go back, and then next week they gotta drive over to Ortonville, get one, next week they gotta drive to
The
Southfield. and
way
get
we
one.
have it worded is, you have Oakland County.
Yeah, I wrote it up as Oakland County, or you wanna have Oakland County or other Oakland County municipality or jurisdiction. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess.
They're gonna find the lowest common
Well,
denominator.
Is it better to do the county county, or is it whether to do within a certain radius?
Well, right now you have Oakland County municipalities / American. So if another local jurisdiction in Oakland County has already given them a permit, you're giving them reciprocity in a sense, right? Hopefully, if you give them a permit, the other communities would, and fire departments, I mean, that's pretty,
Bob, have you read most of the other communities?
yeah, we've read a host of them.
And they all look fairly the same?
This reciprocity thing, I think, is creeping up being new.
Okay.
I don't have it worded well, though, because I said if it was countywide and or permit, I guess, I did it kind of quick.
How
Is
does
a
that,
permit issued by the Oakland County municipalities? Well, it may not be a countywide permit, so maybe we just gotta rephrase that.
Yeah, but
If another permit is issued by another municipality versus a countywide permit, I mean, no one may issue a
Let's go with the
countywide.
easiest example. Let's say the township gave the same food truck a permit. Now they want to come and do an event in the village a month later. Are we gonna make them redo the permit?
I think we already talked about,
Yeah.
we talked about that.
We talked about that.
This being one, because the fire department was gonna do them, and they covered the whole jurisdiction.
So now what about other Oakland County communities?
We're just trusting that their fire departments are as good as ours, basically.
Is that a trust worth affording?
No.
Can you be clear on that?
but the other question I would have is how would liability be affected by that? Either, like if another community actually did the check, then I would really question kind of, could we be held responsible?
Yeah, so let's just stick with the township as a reciprocity, working both ways.
We're the authority having jurisdiction. So,
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe someday it'll all be standardized, but I doubt it, but it might, you never know. But it isn't right now.
I would be
I
concerned.
mean, what Auburn Hills looks for is different than what
Yeah.
we may
If the county wanted to do something
standardize.
right,
Mhm.
then I'd feel better about it. But to do it and say, and we know you're in Royal Township,
Right.
but Royal Township approved it, come on out.
Right.
And just assume Royal Township is good.
So we're close to having it worded correctly now. Joe, we just need to flip a few terms there.
So reword that one, I agree. We'll just, try to be safe.
Yeah.
All right, any other thoughts on this ordinance? Sounds like we should probably get it shaped back up and then
And
put it on the next.
motion to adjourn or postpone the second reading till
Okay, I'll move to adjourn the second reading on proposed ordinance 420 until the next regular meeting of village council.
It's already watching.
The timing and the hours we discussed about stuff being stored outside while they're setting up and operating. Do you want us to incorporate some kind of a time limitation of them to operate in one location? Do you want to say it's permitted, you cannot set up more than 24 hours in one location? Because right now, if we pass it the way it is, once they have a permit, they can set up at the Sunoco station for the rest of the year.
Right, they just have to keep their stuff
And if you're fine with that,
not
that's
out for
fine.
8 hours, right?
And if you're not fine with it, then we want to.
I think it should be mobile, I mean. it's
I
not
would say like
some type of-
48 hours. In case there is an event, I can.
Why don't you cover a weekend with 72?
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think we should go too small, I don't think we should go too big, I think at the very most it should be a week or something like that. You know, a week gives some, just in case we, in the future, have some events.
Yeah, and it may be a moot point, because I think most of them drive away,
Yeah,
replenish, redo their water, the gray water, everything, and then come back the next day. So I don't think many of them are gonna stay overnight, right? Because they're mobile. That's how the person gets home.
Maybe we should max it at 3 days, which would cover a weekend.
So again, what,
Saturday.
I would say 3 days.
again, for them to limit this park, they leave, now it's a trailer, that's different, right? Because the trailer's in there, they can leave the trailer there, but if it's their truck, they're gonna drive it home.
72 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, that
So we'll put like a
sounds
70.
And then that way, with any special events, it'll be part of the special event application.
Right.
Okay. Do you have enough direction on everything else?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, really last was brought up to us last time that the township was having some issues with someone setting up long-term. And that was something he encouraged us to address. And I absolutely want us to have the same system as the township, because I don't think that's fair.
The ordinance didn't have time.
Right, so ours will address it now. And they just need to fix
How is
theirs.
it, okay.
We're addressing it
Okay.
as a 54
Yeah.
and the 8-hour outside. Yeah, their ordinance did not have that.
Okay.
So
So with one permit though, how does that,
the permit.
the permit is the same, it's just we'll kick them out if they
It's a
stay?
different
Okay,
issue.
all right.
Permit means they've been inspected and they're
Permit
safe.
means they've been inspected by the department.
Okay.
How we manage them on the time frame is our ordinance.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further discussion? So motion made by Cook, I'll just do for Joe for a second, I heard all of you.
That was a good discussion.
I'm on.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nay, motion carries. Thank you. Great discussion, thank you. All right, purchasing policy.
Nothing.
Okay, I
Nothing
didn't
big,
see,
nothing big.
that's fine, yes. That's-
Although I can tell you, I haven't given them all to Jody yet. I've given her more than I wanted to read in terms of purchasing ordinances. It's a little bit all over the board.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we appreciate your legal eye on that.
Fun to read.
For sure. Okay, so look forward to that in the future. Our Weckl project update, Mr. Weckl, do you want to come up and give us an update what's going on?
Dave Weckl. I guess the most important thing you want to hear is we're starting the week of the 18th with the concrete, and a week after that's done, asphalt will start. So
For the parking lot.
For the parking lot,
Yay.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
How do you feel about it?
I'll be glad when it's over.
Okay.
It's looking good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. And the other part, the windows are still on schedule. It's supposed to be here October 6th for the 3rd floor. And that'll make that building a little better too. And the same contractor is doing the curb and gutter, is also doing the sidewalks on 32. And then I'll be able to put my entry doors in, make that look like it's finished on the outside. So it's all good.
Great. So does this mean DTE has been, the issue, the delay with DTE has been resolved then, or are you just working around them?
Delays of what, Edison?
Yeah.
Or DTE?
Yeah.
I'm ignoring them right now.
Okay.
They're ignoring him, so why?
Yeah, they're not in the footprint of our parking lot.
Right.
It just would have been a whole lot easier if they would have done what they needed to do. We can't finish the Burdick Street parking bays because we still have a hole
Okay.
in the parking bay for 2 years now. At least, I don't know how long it's been a while. And as far as the parking lot lighting, we're putting solar tubes in and doing conduit, so once the lamps are here, then those can be set afterwards. So parking lot will be lit, but it doesn't have anything to do with DTE.
Gotcha.
And they got to be really busy, apparently. So
There have been storms.
there's been a lot of storms. I know they all go on storm detail now, even their attorneys, because I know George Black, he said, yeah, I even go out on storm call, the attorney for DTE. It's crazy. They got to be shorthanded, I think.
Kelsey.
No. Any questions from council, Mr. Weckl? No?
Would you like having this door from us?
No, I like coming here. I used to come all the time, so I learned everything. No.
Thank you, we appreciate your
Yeah.
time.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to new business, the paint color decision for our police garage.
They
And-
agree, right? Lori wasn't here when I was
We have a recommendation, which is good.
It's gray.
So it's gray.
Is it blue gray?
The neighbor approves.
So probably the darker one for the top. So right now it's yellow and brown, if you can
It's beautiful.
remember.
I like those.
You wanna check it out, Lori?
I'm impressed it's not bad colors. I mean,
No.
No green or white.
glow in the dark yellow.
Well, that, okay, glow in the dark and some glare, I might be.
Just-
Just the corner
just on the
of the
west side.
house is gonna have a little detail.
I'm a fan of dark trim compared to
What's the sketch, what's the schedule?
October 2nd.
Oh, great.
A lot of metal repairs already in that waxing complete.
Mhm.
The rusted metal pieces have been repaired, you'll see they're white now, and then they'll be painted, we can power wash and paint it to match, of course, when it's all done.
Great.
It'll look a lot better, but
Yeah.
it's never gonna be a new building.
No,
No.
it'll be vintage, but it'll look
Yeah.
a lot nicer.
Right.
Fantastic, thank you. Okay, we'll move on to the Scripter Park tree purchase and plantings.
So, Terry had in the packet, and I got the other ones for you as well. This is the information we had back in the spring, I think it was this past year, last December or so, talking about potentially, yeah, it was last fall, because we were gonna maybe do it right before winter. And that's when the student group came forward again about their plans, and so we kind of backburnered this. We had money for the budget, I think we still had a budget for doing these trees in Scripter Park. And I know Mo and maybe others have mentioned, perhaps we want to do this regardless or in place of, or what, either way, what else might be happening. So that's, I haven't followed up on the numbers to see they haven't changed, but again, it's been less than a year.
So I know, Lori, you brought this up on last meeting. It sounds like maybe we just want to move forward and get these trees in. I think now's good. I know nothing about trees, but I think that since we're talking about them last fall, to plant, maybe now.
That's what I heard.
Plant trees
The
and
time
those
to
that
put it
have-
in. And I don't want the kids to feel like we are rushing them. I don't want them to feel like we're doing this instead or we're backing up. Like, I want them to take whatever time they need and get exactly what they want, when they want it, and have our full support along the way. I just think we should get a little something in, and it sounds like other people have been kind of thinking the same thing too. So I don't think we should put it in the area where, that we've designated for them. Let's put it somewhere else so that we don't have to pull it out, we don't have to move it when they come in, their area is still set aside for them. I don't want them to work around us, through us, any of that. It'll be there, continue to be there even when the kids are doing their thing.
Yeah, sounds really nice. Any other thoughts from council?
I live at the corner of Dayton and Maple. Can I tell you I'm absolutely sick of maple trees? Is there a reason we're going with maple trees?
It's better than black walnut trees.
If there is, I'm not sure. The colors, the red color, I think was the prettiness of the colors.
I really like other trees. Trees, like oak trees. I have a catalpa tree in my yard. I didn't put it there. God put it there. I left it alone. I'm really sick of maple trees. Everybody goes, maybe it's just cheap. We'll just find it, we get that. I don't know how much we budgeted. I'd actually like to see a larger tree planted, rather than a 2-inch. I know.
Yeah, 4 inch was the option I think we were leaning towards last time. 4 of them at 12, 4,800, we had 5,000 in budget. And I will just say, I have a lot of oaks in my property, no maples. I wish I had some maples because the oaks, they go from green
I'll trade you
to orange.
tree for tree.
But I mean to rust color, they go from green to rust color, and that's it. There's nothing special about them in the fall.
Again,
I'll trade, I'll bring you some acorns.
I'll start doing maple slab in my yard tonight.
Again, I think part of our discussions and thoughts were, it's beautiful when it's in fall foliage.
But there's other trees.
Oh, there's a.
Maybe we could ask Leslie Pilak, the Lorax, what a good tree would be.
We have to make sure it's not an invasive species. But I believe it is not. I think that was one of my main questions to the gentleman at the tree farm here just south of the north of what's that memorial is where this guy's located.
I personally don't care what kind of tree. I don't have these strong feelings about trees. So I'll support whatever we get.
I think being hardy, being native, and being colorful was what landed us in this one.
Now, are we gonna go ahead and do the large boulder also that we talked about?
It's not on the agenda tonight, I do not know.
Okay. Maybe we can look into it. I know. We had a vote, right, didn't Dan, Don, give us a
I
idea?
think we could thought,
Rock thing?
with no gravel companies, we could get rid
I
of it.
thought he might be able to scare one up, I think, with his contract, so to
He's
speak.
probably got one in his backyard.
Can you get on board with the red maple law?
I'm just one of 5, if you guys really like maple trees.
I like that it fit the criteria Joe mentioned.
I like maples.
I like
I
maples.
wish I had maples in my yard.
This is the last debate I thought we were gonna
This is the big contentious.
This was one of my radar.
I see a 3-2 vote coming. How about vote?
I will bow, and I don't do this ever, to the rest of council to pick the tree. I'll just put on record, I'm sick of maples.
All right.
You went down,
So
down,
noted.
down, he loves cutting down trees.
I already took one down.
Okay, are we good?
Lori, you wanna make a motion for
Um,
these?
I will make a motion that we go ahead and order 4 trees and, get the better sized ones. So they're,
4-inch.
yes, please. And that we look into, ask to look into the boulder.
And Don will try to bring back an idea of what's the best location at Scribbner Park, because if we have them too far away, I thought initially, hey, we're a long glassy street heading south, but they're gonna need to be watered for the first year or two, and so we don't want them 500 feet away from the water source. So maybe closer to the beach or area around, maybe the beach house area, maybe somewhere up there, I think that's easier to
Kinda
get water to.
house-washing.
Yeah. I thought, it'd be nice to have them kind of in a row of a spring along glassy, prominently displayed. But I'm worried about them surviving if we put water to them.
Is there support?
Support.
Motion made by Borja, seconded by Nicosia. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Do we need a
We should do a
roll
roll
call?
call.
Roll call, okay.
Yeah, just 'cause it's
Money, thank you.
Borjo,
Yes.
Nicosia,
Yes.
Kemp,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
including the sound.
Fine.
Say yes.
Motion carries unanimously, thank you. All right, roof line lighting on the museum. Dr. Westbrook, do you want to present this item for us?
And Kelly provided me some info, I provided an email from the Brian Cooper, Historical Society, and some other background information that you're for you tonight.
Got all fun things for you, So this was something that we actually spoke about over 2 years ago now. The thing that held us back was the museum wasn't really on board to do any type of rooftop lighting. So we tabled it for that time, but now that we've implemented lighting inside of the DDA district, most recently in the community space, and got such great feedback from the community, we really wanted to bring it back up. Instead of outlining all the rooftops in the entire district of the DDA, in design committee, we discussed lighting just the 4 corners. And starting there, letting people get used to it, making sure that we get all the good feedback that we have been getting. And then from there, we can discuss all the other buildings. So right now, we have approval from all the other building owners and businesses. And museum, since the village council, you guys own that one, we wanted to come and get approval from you. It's been talked about the limestone on that building, so I just wanted to share with you what the clips look like, and so that you guys could make the best decision possible. So Excel Cleaning Brothers is the one that has done all of our lighting projects in downtown and on the buildings. So this is what we've used on the other buildings, so I'll just show you. This attaches to the top of the roof, so it's not seen by the public, only the light is seen. but it's this small plastic clip like this. This goes in and then the light sits. So I have actually limestone, this is what the museum building is made out of. So this is how it would be attached. This would be further back so you couldn't see the clip. If the lighting, we ever do want to remove it, it's an easy pull off. The plastic clip would remain on the roof. If then we wanted to go and remove these, like Ashley made comment about earlier, there is a solution that you can go in and remove the adhesive as well. So that's what we're looking to do. We do have it in our budget. We'll be utilizing some of our consumer grant for the project, and we would be able to have it up before October 1st. So when it starts to get dark here, I really do think that it would be a very beautiful welcome into the community and kind of highlight, you know, that center of downtown.
Is the plan for this lighting just certain times of the year, or is it all year?
Nope, it would be all year. So just like our other lighting stays out, it would not be any cost to the museum, to the village, or the businesses. The way that we've done it so far is we calculate when the lights are on, how much wattage is being used. Excel gives that to us, and then we write a check wherever it's plugged in. So if it was plugged in at the museum, then we would give the village the money for that amount of electricity. To be honest with you, it's not much because it's a couple cents a day. So the checks that are going out for a whole year are about $80 in our other lighting projects. And the other owners that we did talk to of the other 3 corners are very excited about it. They were very on board, and they would really appreciate the project being done as well. One other thing I did do is I did contact Christie in Rochester, because as you know, they do the Christmas lighting. Their buildings are also historic and old as well. They actually drill into their buildings, which I was kind of surprised. So this is less invasive. This is more protective of our historic buildings in downtown. But that's just the choice that they made. But she wanted to say that, you know, it's been a huge benefit to that community to have such beautiful lighting. And we would be the first one in Oakland County to do this project, even though I do know that other communities have started talking about it as well.
Just to follow up on that, many of the buildings are already in place, and many of the ones proposed will utilize a magnetic light that just attaches magnetically right to the existing steel top of the roof line. So not all of them will even need the adhesive application.
Yep, that's correct. And nothing is on the facade of the building. This is all on the rooftop. So nothing is on that actual fascia of the building. Do you want to see these, or?
I got the other.
I have all the goodies.
Any other questions?
Yeah, who maintains the long-term?
Yeah, so actually in our agreement with Excel Cleaning Brothers, we did incorporate a maintenance in there. We're lucky enough to have them in our district, so if one did pop off, they're really great and they're right here. We have not had that problem so far, and we've had lighting with them up for over 2 years. But we did put the maintenance agreement, and we'll be paying for it out of the DDA budget, so that we make sure that, you know, we're not gonna put these up and then it's not gonna look nice.
And they have experience working with historic buildings, like in Rochester or wherever?
Yep, they have experience. Mickey has been wonderful. I mean, he even came back and talked to Joe and I again today. But they're very familiar with the buildings, and even when they came through and washed all of the buildings in downtown 3 years ago when we did the grant program for that, they made sure that they researched each building and made sure that when they were pressure washing, some of them they had to soft wash. So they have been very careful and really great to work with.
Any other questions for Director Westbrook? No? Thank you. I'd like to invite Ashley Ross back up to
Okay.
give further comments.
I wanted to make a quick disclosure, because I didn't know this during public comment. Not that it's that big of a deal. I helped write the Consumers Energy Grant, and I didn't know that money would be going towards this project before my comment. I just want to be very clear that there's no like financial gain there whatsoever. But if that fund, I want to be very transparent. If that funding is going towards it, I did also write that. It doesn't change my professional opinion on actual installation though. So I want to be very clear to have that on the record.
Great, thank you, we appreciate that. So we all have in our packet, as Mr. Redorf said, an email from Brian Cloutier, our librarian and board member for the Northeast Oakland Historical Society and Museum, with his concerns, although I appreciate his concerns. I think all of his concerns have been satisfied with what Dirk Westbrook and Ashley had to say this evening. So, if council doesn't have any other questions, I'll move to approve the rooftop lighting for our museum. That the DDA will work with Exalt Cleaning Brothers to install, and the DDA is covering all the costs for.
Support. I actually do have a question.
Sure.
I mean, there's no way this is historical. Are we throwing the historical out? Are we done being worried? I don't believe. Again, my glasses don't work anymore. They don't work anymore. She's too far away. Are we done with historical?
No, I feel like the historic nature of the buildings, a lot of that is on the line of the rooftops, and I feel like if anything, this draws attention to it. But the other part of that is we're not changing the building. We're adding lighting to hopefully enhance the building. But none of this is a permanent change to the building or the historic nature.
Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote, please.
Kemp,
Yes.
Nicosia,
Yes.
Paulman,
Yes.
Bordeaux,
Yes.
Cook.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, D, the planning commission vacancy appointment recommendation. This application came through, was pleased to see someone, Tom Schultz, who's a longtime member of our community and actually served on the planning commission previously, was the chair of the planning commission. Mo, I'm assuming you
Very
know him.
He's wonderful
Great.
on the planning commission, and I'm very excited.
Perfect, good to hear. That's what I was thinking you were gonna say. So he's really excited to get back into the village and continue to serve, so we're gonna be happy to have him as soon as this recommendation gets approved. So I would move to appoint Tom Schultz to the Village of Oxford Planning Commission. And this is gonna be for a term that expires end of this year, 2023, due to Michelle McClellan's resignation.
I'll support that.
Fantastic. Cook, Elmo, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nay? Motion carries. I think the next planning commission meeting is in a week or two, so
Nothing planned yet.
nothing planned on it yet.
We're waiting, right?
So they'll jump right in, so that's fantastic. Next up is 9E, the police body cam purchase. Chief Sol, you want to speak to this? Great, thank you.
Thank you, Council.
Brought it back to muscle today.
Did this on purpose today. Hard not to please? Yeah. I like maple trees. I've got pretty one. Yeah, I hope that doesn't affect your decision.
Oh, you have no idea what you're affecting.
Tonight I'm going to be asking for an upgrade on our body cams. Right now, the Asheville Police Department currently has 2 body cams through a company called Wolfcom. Wolfcom is the cheapest and the product proves it. The clips to the body cams are attached to the base. The base rails that the clip slides on breaks along with the clips too frequently. When sending the clip in for repair, not only does it take months, the base still needs repairs. To repair the base, you have to purchase a new camera because the broken rails will not hold the clips. So when you put the clip on, even though you get the clip replaced, the clip that goes on the rail is actually on the body of the body cam, actually is broke. So you have to send the whole entire body cam in, and you have to wait for that to come back, and who knows how many months that takes, and sometimes it's many. Currently, there is no cloud storage. You'll have enough. Currently, there is no cloud storage, so the need for purchasing thumb drives is necessary. These thumb drives they must be mailed and hand-delivered to a court, prosecutor, or attorney. So currently, right now, anything that we have to upload onto the thumb drive, and we have to send it or personally take it to a prosecutor for them to look at it. Couple other products that we looked at, Motorola is the second lowest price. Obviously Wolfcom is the first lowest price. Motorola is the second lowest price, but there may be some unforeseen costs in the future for cloud storage as well as upgrading equipment costs. When asked to provide 2 body cams for testing purposes, they were unable to due to the size of the order. Axon is the third product that we're looking at, and Axon is actually the highest cost, but has been the most reliable. When shopping free bids, Axon immediately sent 2 body cams for trial. And we have been using actually these Axon body cams for trial since the Memorial holiday, which we're past that 30-day trial. Officers love them and they work efficiently. Looking at those 3 costs and the efficiency of Axon, we already have a current contract with Axon through the tasers. I'm requesting the purchase of 3 body cams from Axon. 2 body cams will always be in use, but a third is necessary for backup. So if we do have to send one in for repair, we're going to still have 2 body cams. We have 2 officers on for the most part until 3 a.m. So if one is down, then at least we'll still have the 2 body cams. We can use that backup one. The cost for the 3 devices would be $23,598.58, and the payment would be broken down into 5 years, $4,719.72 per year, which is less than $400 per month. Axon has made itself available during this process and stand by the product. Oxford PD is familiar with Axon, with their tasers that I just mentioned, which we are currently contracted through. Good reliable products is important to have in a world where transparency is crucial.
Thank you. Any questions? Sorry.
Have anything on the Axon parts broken yet?
They have not.
Have you heard of anything that's most common to break on?
I have not, no. But that doesn't mean it won't. I mean, I have not. I mean, it's been a very reliable product.
Right, there's not like everybody knows that the screen's cracked or
Right,
something.
yeah, I have not heard anything of that or anything that I've read.
How long, oh, sorry, maybe interrupt you. How long do you have to hold on to the footage for? 2, 3, 5?
We can hold it up to 60 days, but depending on if we need it for court purposes, we don't need to keep it that long, but we do just in case something may come up and they'll say, oh, you have that footage, we'll hold on to that.
Okay, and,
We hold it if we get a FOIA request too.
Yeah.
and so you're, consistently, like over the course of the year, you're making trips out to the courts to bring this footage to them as well too, so there's cost there as well too, going with the Wolfcom as opposed to Axon. So it sounds like we're also, this is a geeky question, getting into about a terabyte and a half of cloud storage space. So is that for all 3 devices, or is that for each device individually?
Yeah, just to clarify on that, so we're looking since, hey, welcome.
Everybody sounds like a dinosaur to me.
So in cloud storage, 1.5 terabytes is really not that much, but I went back through an archive to look at the total storage used since since Memorial Day. We're currently sitting at 230 gigs total, and we haven't gotten rid of anything. So we've kept everything since then. So once we put in our retention policies in there and start expunging out the stuff that we don't need, that price will go down. And it'll be a cost savings that we'll realize after the contract, and it wouldn't be stuck there. It does fluctuate, so if we have, let's say if we have a major incident, we have to keep something longer and we hit that stuff, then that would be something that they'd let us know, give us a warning, and then that might be an unforeseen cost. The one thing, why I'm up here, Motorola, while cheaper, gives us 2 body cams, one brand new one at the beginning, and then one in the middle of the life cycle, where the Axon one will actually give us 3. So you have a brand new one at the beginning, middle of the life cycle gives you another one, and at the end of the 5-year, they send you out a brand new device and stuff. So we actually get 3 devices during the stuff, so there. And Lori, to answer your question about the attachments, all the clips and everything are actually made of a metal alloy and not a plastic. So a big achievement on their side. Motorola's is still plastic on theirs. It's still an issue.
Thank you.
Yep.
Does the Axon software meet best practices for the court in terms of court usage and what they need from us?
Yes.
And is 60 days standard? The storage, is that
That's what we have in our policy,
Okay.
so that's what we
Is that-
provide.
fairly standard across the board? I'm not sure what would be.
From what I've read in other policies, it seems to be the standard and kind of where they set it at as far as the need.
So when a case resolves, we obviously we don't need a body cam anymore. When a case is filed, we get a discovery request normally right away from a defense lawyer. So it all happens in that time frame. Like I said, if we have a pending FOIA or indications there's going to be a FOIA for the body cam because it was a attendant issue with it, then we hold on to it longer.
The other thing, Allison, on the best practices for the transferring of the data or the video to the prosecutor's office, the way that Axon's set up, it's a secured link sent to their email. They have to log in, they have to authenticate, and then there's an evidence chain, right? So then we can actually see if prosecutor A gets it, they look at it, or defense attorney gets it, and then they forward it to somebody else, and we can see who's downloaded and who's access to it. Something that we currently don't have with the USBs.
It is critical these days now because really they don't go by reports anymore. They go by, you got body cam footage? Okay, we're gonna go by that. We wanna see that.
They're all asking for it.
So I would, what I would say on this, on the Axon one for sure, is it looks like the cloud storage price that they gave you is probably a little bit high, if I had to guess. That may be compounded, I guess, over 5 years, but I think it's basically $90 for a gig and a half, according to these rates right here. I make sure, look at that with them. It probably all depends on the number of users and how many cameras you have, but I think that's probably the place that I would look to maybe get some cost reduction on this particular one.
Yeah, the unknowns that I didn't like in Motorola, first of all, we talked about Axon always being there and stuff. In fact, the gentleman I'm working with, his name's Charlie, sent me over an executive summary tonight just to see how things went and stuff. Thought that our meeting was last week and stuff. But Motorola does unlimited cloud storage for the first year, and then the cost is unknown. It's market value at that particular time. So then, as I'm starting to look at this, and I'm like, okay, at least we have it down contractually. We know what it is. The storage cost, definitely we could bring it down if we don't need it. At the point in time, they're looking at our sizes of our agency, the number of cameras compared to their network of cameras that they have throughout the U.S. And stuff. And they said this is kind of a standard area. That way you're not bumping up against limitations of cloud storage.
Mo, did you have a comment?
How long do they estimate, once it's fully charged, it'll run for?
18 hours on standby, 11 hours fully running. And that's at 1080p and 30 frames per second. Nighttime, you want me to keep going?
Rattle off letters. Is that enough?
It is enough. The nice thing is if the officer gets, if we have an incident over there, the body cams actually have a USB-C port on the bottom. That's kind of our standard charging stuff for our phones. And they send a cord and you can plug it into the car inside of the computer and charge it as you go. The next step up actually has a magnetic charging part on there. So like if it's in the car and you grab it when you're jumping out, it just disconnects. So, it's one of those, if you want to pay more, you can get more for that stuff. But Mo, to be completely honest with you, when the cameras have come back, I can see the use rate on the batteries, and they're down to like 40% after a 12-hour shift.
Okay. And we have 2 officers on Friday nights. Is that right?
Yeah, we have 2
Am I making
officers.
stuff in my head. So that's 2 cams, while the third one's charging. The reserves don't carry body cameras?
If there's a reserve in and there's 2 body cams that are being used, they can use that third one, but it's primarily gonna be our backup cam.
And we'll probably rotate them so they get equal use.
Yeah, if it's there, we're gonna use it, but we wanna have one for backup in case we have to send one in.
In a perfect world, an officer would always have a body camera. And I want to make sure we have enough body cameras so that camera would always be running. Either a full-time officer, a part-time officer, reserve officer.
yeah, whatever we have, we're gonna get full use out of it, so if it's there, we're gonna use it.
I liked that, when you asked them for it, they got it to you right away. And I think it was telling when, you said Motorola couldn't give it to you because of the order size. Tells you what's gonna happen if we need it. And so, if it's okay, I'd just go ahead and make a motion that we, approve purchasing 3 body cams from Axon for a total cost of $23,598.58, broken down into 5 years payment of $3,719.72.
I have one more question. What's the difference between a pro license and a basic license?
So a pro license allows for you to do redaction and a voice to text there, as well as active response. So if the officers out there and such, and they do their camera, and then if we down the road have other technology with our Axon tasers, it would do an alert on the command staff that the taser was deployed or there was an incident. If we integrate, future thinking and being optimistic, if we do Axon for in-car cameras, if the car was to get inside with a motor vehicle accident, that pro license would notify your command staff. So you're not worried about them trying to do that, they'd immediately get notified and stuff. The pro licenses, they recommend every officer that's using the camera to use a pro license. I went back and said, no, we just want the pro license per camera. We'll sign that license to there. The basic license that's there allows for the officer to get into it and review the video that they've done, be able to submit it out. One thing on the pro license that the basic license doesn't have is if we have an incident, and going back historically where we used to have people trying door handles in different subdivisions, we could put out a community event where people could upload their door camera footage and stuff in there. That comes with the pro license, but it's not really necessary for every single officer to have that. And that's a cost savings that we realized is working with the account manager of like, why are we gonna pay for everybody if we just need it for the cameras? It's not a one-to-one scenario in our department.
So, in the future, if we did want to discuss adding extra, an extra cam or whatnot, like at a future budget meeting, like that we could do that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, at that time, it would just be the additional cost for the camera itself, and then if you rolled it into this,
When you be, okay.
yeah. The other thing, and I don't think it was specified in your memo, chief, I apologize for that, and I give it to you. In the upgrade, if the mold, or excuse me, the Axon model that we're getting now is their current one, they have one that's getting released next year, at that hardware refresh cycle in the middle, we would get that latest one. That would be enough cost for that. And that's something that's over top of the Motorola one where you have.
So we always get the latest version.
Correct.
Thank you.
All right, there's a motion on the table by Bourgeois. I'll second that. Any further discussion?
I just want to say, I think from a technology perspective, I think it makes a lot of sense to get the department where they need to be with this. I mean, all the functionality that it was talking about, I think really what we're doing currently is, it's a little bit, it's dated for sure. And then what this is really gonna do is also protect the village as well too. Multiple ways of verifying all of the information and who actually has it too, and who's looking at it. So I'm in favor of this from a technology perspective.
Yeah, great points. Thank you. And those most thorough answers I've heard to questions. And so I really thank you for being so prepared too.
Thank you for your research.
Oh, yeah.
May I add another zero?
2 zeros?
That's why we didn't get 4 body cameras.
So now we get 2 zeros.
Get that third one, makes good, yeah.
We'll do a roll call vote, please.
Bourgeois,
Yes.
Calvin,
Yes.
Nicosia,
Yes.
Kemp,
Yes.
Cook.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, special event invitation for the Oxford Chamber of Commerce Christmas Parade.
Yep, Labor Day is here, so it's time to talk about Christmas.
No.
Naturally. Actually, we talked about it before. So, we looked at various options this year, changing out the route and things like that. The chief was trying to make it easier on the traffic and stuff like that. We kind of, the last page of the application talks about the route. It's only modestly changed. It's going to end and turn on Church Street now versus They went beyond the fire department that large laid out a lot with the annex being used before. Just trying to avoid that this year we was on Church Street.
It's not good anymore.
Yeah, I mean, right, I mean, well, yeah, it's not available, there's activity going on back there, we're not sure what else is going back there, but it's not available. And we were thinking about going to the left on, on Burdick and just cutting it back down Pontiac, all the way back down to the way it started. But then that was gonna leave out some of the northern part, the businesses and stuff out of the loop, so that was that back and forth. We just thought it'd be easier, but so it's, other than turning on Church versus going a little farther north, it's virtually the same.
That's great.
And the Chamber of Commerce is also the one that does the lighting in the bridge, and the same company that the is using now is that does the bridge lighting for them as well. So, those are their lights too.
Thank you.
Those are pretty easy, because everything's metal up there, they just use their magnets.
Thank you. Is there a motion for the special event application?
I'll make a motion to approve the special event application for the Oxford Chamber of Commerce Christmas Parade.
Second?
Motion made by Helmut, seconded by Nicosia. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Any nay? Motion carries. Thank you. 9G, the 2024 Smart Node and Municipal Credit Contract.
This is the redo what we do each year. Madonna Van Fossen, who used to be the DDA here, who then worked with Smart, is now retired and or moved elsewhere. She's no longer with Smart. So that new represent the sort of mean. It's a pass through. We apply our credits right to be over to Node.
Is there a motion on this agenda item?
I'll make a motion to approve the 2024 Smart Node Municipal Credit Contract.
Support. Motion made by Helmut, seconded by Kemp. Any discussion? Does that need a roll call?
Yeah, it's quasi.
Okay, we'll do that then. Roll call vote, please.
Helmut,
Yes.
Kemp? Yes. Nicosia?
Yes.
Bordeaux?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you. Number 10, there's none. Second opportunity for public comments. Anyone like to speak?
I'll be really quick. Going back, I apologize to 8A, the residential inspection ordinance. I was always on the fence going back and forth, just really briefly with all the updates. I think I won't be able to make the next meeting where you're going to do the next reading, but I really think what is presented today is an overreach.
Thank you for your comment. Mr. Charles?
Talk about trees.
Not maple trees.
Okay.
How about coconut?
Yes.
Definitely.
Hey, I want to say thank you to a few people. I mean, actually, we're here. In particular, the DDA has been really doing a good job. I want to say thank you for the support on the lighting project. That's something we've been talking about for a few years. I think it's had a great impact. That's one of the people that talked to some of the business owners downtown, and they're the ones I talked with are pretty enthusiastic about it. So I came here just to see how things are going, and I want to say I appreciate your vote on that because I know it's well received. I know Kelly's here too. Kelly and Kimberly do a fantastic job, as you probably know. I hear compliments all the time about what's going on with the DDA. I've never heard that in the previous years I've been associated with the DDA. So as a community member, we should all be proud of what the DDA is doing. Not just the lighting, the flowers, the project downtown, the square downtown, Washington Square. That's an awesome kind of thing right there. Myself and some of the DDA board members used to go over there and pick up pop cans and beer cans and pull weeds and stuff. We don't have to do it anymore. We just sweep. It's kind of nice to see DDA members involved. If you know, we had a tailgate party Friday night at the high school. That worked out pretty good. I think it cost us less than $70. Peter's DDA board member was there. That was kind of nice too. So that was a positive event. As you know, we also had the Oktoberfest. I think we made a few $1,000 in that, Kelly. But I did tell her there's no commissions that we're paying. So, but I just want to say thank you again for that vote on that. I think it's a step to get that lighting down. It's really a pop, especially as it gets darker and darker. As I hate to use the word winter, but as it comes up here. So thank you again very much.
Thank you so much. Any other public comment?
parking lot's still underway, you see that's why the trolley is here.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's about all I'm involved, she just asked if she could park it here, I'm like, sure. But it'll go into a new, nice new parking lot soon.
It's kind of nice seeing the
I
trolley.
know,
Yeah.
it makes me so
I like it.
happy.
It'll look cool.
Great, thank you.
It's safer here.
Yes.
Someone broke into it over there.
Oh, wow.
Who breaks into a trolley? And what were
Someone wants to go for a ride.
Did they?
My
They
dad
could
saw
figure
it.
out how to turn it on.
Okay.
It's a couple step process, they could.
I was 14 once.
Yeah. All right, planning commission and cable commission?
I don't think the planning commission met.
We don't want to meet because you weren't around.
Well, it just dawned on me, I probably missed a cable meeting. And I have to call Terry Stout, I have no idea.
Okay. No worries. DDA, I'm gonna defer to Director Westbrook for an update if you don't mind.
I thought Brad was gonna steal all my thunder. I was like, dude, that's all of the stuff I had written down. Yeah, first and foremost, just thank you guys on the lighting project, but thank you for everything. I mean, I only get to see most of you once a month, but I get to work with Joe and Terry on a daily basis, and there's just such a we just have the best team, and it's a joy to come into work every day, so I just appreciate you guys. I kind of broke it into sections tonight because there's a lot to talk about and give you updates on. So from a capital improvement standpoint, we are just finishing the village patio. That name was, voted on by the community, big O at the end of patio. But that's the space behind Red Naps there, and we only have just the installation of a portion of the arch left, and it looks really, really nice. Good thing that it's almost done because next Monday we start on the actual paving of the northeast parking lot. So we have a whole phase plan for that, but it will be done by October 1st, right in time for Scarecrow Fest. So we're excited to get that done. The southeast project for placemaking goes out to bid next week. So you guys will have updates for you at next meeting, but that one will be coming down the pipeline. Obviously the lighting project will now go into queue, and then you're gonna see some new facade and signage grants. You'll see some more changes, but the DDA is awarding some more of those, some money to the different businesses for that to update. From an event standpoint, Brad kind of recapped the tailgate, but we were able to work with OCTV hand in hand for the first time. And I just loved what that did for our relationship, but just to see the joy too, because they were there that night when the community showed up and their families came out. It was just really neat to be able to work hand in hand with them for that event. The trolley bar crawl was awesome. I too attended, just to keep an eye on things, but we ended up making a little over $3,000, but it also brought so much business into our bars and our restaurants. So a great event overall and no problems, which is good. MDA takeover is tomorrow, so the DDA is able to take over the MDA's Instagram, Michigan Downtown Association. So I was gonna get with Joe in the morning, but hoping to give a couple shout outs to the village council and to the village while we're on there tomorrow, so look for that. We have a lot of events coming up. Downtown Day is September 23rd, that's statewide. They put that into effect 3 years ago, and it's really more, you'll see more on social media, just shop downtown, eat downtown, things of that nature. And that day, we are launching the Shop Oakland County. So you've heard me talk about that e-commerce site before. It's kind of like Oxford's very own Etsy, but it is Oakland County wide. So I'll be in Rochester that day for the ribbon cutting, and then I'll be back here also doing some videos in downtown Oxford to promote that. The 24th is the Fall Festival in the White House District. So as you know, the White House district is part of downtown, and we have been trying to work with them more. So they have over 40 vendors and a full day planned there. So we're excited just to be working more so with them and for them to kind of have their own little event down in that area. We have the Scarecrow Fest and the 5K on October 1st. And we are expanding to all 4 of the areas in downtown because it has gotten so large. And we've had so much response from businesses that want to sponsor the event and be involved. So we're excited about that. Witches Night will be October 20th. And then We also are doing downtown decor on September 22nd, if anybody would like to volunteer. And the other thing is, you might have seen it pulled into Washington Square, but on Sunday night, we were donated for the next month a really old-fashioned truck that we are going to decorate with fall decor and mugs and encourage families to come down and take their fall pictures in Washington Square. And while they're here, of course, please visit their favorite business. Switching gears again to government, we have contracted with McKenna to renew our TIF plan to help us out on that. So we're working hand in hand with Mario. I'm working on our PA 57 reports that are due. And Oakland County, we came to them with an idea a few months back to have more of a county-wide social media where we can get our downtown out to other places and not just the same 8,000 followers that we have. And today they called and asked us to head up that project. So we're excited to be doing that. And then the last thing is we are finalizing a downtown map that will be a trifold brochure that will have a map of all of the district, all of our places to eat and shop, and then we'll be able to have it on the trolley and then in all the businesses downtown. And hopefully, you know, if you haven't visited our business, you're seeing it on that map and you're getting in the door, because we do have a lot of new folks in town. And that's about it.
That's incredible. For the downtown map, will that be available online as well?
Yes. So it's nice because the version online will be able to update as soon as a business comes in, or unfortunately if a business goes out, and then we'll go to print every 3 months in order to update the actual printed brochures.
Okay, I think that will be a huge help. I know personally when I'm gonna visit a new downtown, I'll see if they have a new DA, or
Yes.
I'll just Google, and it's really nice to get like a directory of all the businesses in town so you know what's there. Because until you come to
1000%.
Oxford, you don't realize what's here.
And that there's so many, and there's so many tucked away. We have some upstairs and then the White House district, so I think it's really important. And we have been working on it for some time now. The other thing will be, we'll have that scannable code right on there and say, for the most updated, scan here, and then it'll pull it up on mobile.
Perfect. Thank you. Any questions for Kelly?
All right, thanks guys.
Thank you so much. Holly Andrew?
Yep, Pauline Trail was at Orion Township in, when was that? I don't know, August 16th, there you go. So they got a grant approved, they have RFP out engineering for their entire trail, trying to rebuild and resurfacing the trail areas. They did approve the Scarecrow DDA event at their meeting at the time as well. And just plugging away at that. Their website was just about ready to go done. I haven't checked it this last week or two, but a new website should be probably up by now. They were in the final stages of it at that time. And they approved a bottle drive, and it was gonna be out here, but I haven't seen much activity. I have to check, part with the Oxford Women's Club was gonna be kind of spearheading and helping them with that, and gonna split the proceeds 50% between the Women's Club and the Pauline Trail.
Thank you. Manager, staff, and attorney reports, Mr. Miller?
Yeah, so a couple things we have going on too as well. We talked about the billing, first week of October out back there. A couple of other things we have approved, have POs out waiting to have done is the power washing of the water tower. And I got a new concern as I drove by there again a day or two ago. The new homes on Scripture Court are so close to that road. I'm not sure if the people that quoted it realize how close those homes are, and I'm worried a little bit of soapy, mildewy water laying all over their deck in the backyard and things like that, so that's what.
The cars.
Well, the cars, if they're over the house, maybe, but the whole back of the house and the deck, I'm a little concerned about, because it's not many feet from the edge of that water tower over to those homes on Scripture.
So we're gonna give everybody notice? and
Oh,
a letter
absolutely,
and-
them notice, but more so, I want to let the contract be, I noticed that.
Right.
You know, if you spray mildew all over their awnings and stuff, you will be always them too.
Right.
And so, and it's not a very high price for paint if they do it, so I'm sure they're gonna be careful. I'm more concerned with in a couple of years when we do the painting, because Don Brantley had told me in the past, they would park their vehicles out down around by the park when they're painting the water tower, because even though it's rolled on, wind comes, they drift.
It gets on.
It gets on.
Okay.
So that's another concern that, again, before there wasn't much there as far as the old industrial building that was there. But now there's several new homes very nearby. So the power washing of the water tower, the repainting of the area the tanks come through the water plant roof, those are still on schedule to be done yet this fall. And as Kelly mentioned, the southeast quad placemaking behind Victoria's and stuff out there, it actually is out to bid already, it's out
They
listed
did
already.
release it, okay.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, they received a call from a contractor today wondering if they could do it in 2024. And Road told them, no, it's scheduled to be planned this year. Now, the only caveat I would put to that is, you know, if we estimated at 50 and then everyone's coming in at 80, you may have no choice but to kick it to next year, because if everyone's putting in high numbers on it because they're gonna jam it in under overtime, that's a call you guys have to make,
Yeah.
right? So hopefully not. The crosswalks, we have that all out, RFP out, Terry put it in the paper, it should be in later this week. I'm still waiting for my BidNet mitten set up there to have it posted there. I set up a vendor account a few weeks ago, but that was a partial thing. They said, oh, for municipalities, put bids up, but we have to walk through that, so I'm waiting for a call back from them. Get that set up, so I want to put it on there as well. It, obviously, it's at the paper, we'll post it in the office here, but I'll also put it out on our Facebook page too.
Great.
Just try to get some of that out. Again, and as you're aware, we're getting a price to do both of them and a price to do individually. So we choose to do this one, we'll know, and they'll be prepared to do this one at that point.
I think the word is pretty good.
Yeah, so, other than that, there's nothing going on.
Great, just that. Thank you. Clerk Anika, anything you want to mention?
The audit will be starting on the 25th, so we've been working, getting all those papers ready, and so that should go smoothly.
Yep. Great, Mr. Dean?
She's been diligently buried in the computer for the last 60 days.
I'm sure.
It's like, is Terry here? Oh yeah, she's in there.
Quiet, it's quiet, and I'm good, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Council comments? Start with Lori.
Congrats and thank you to Mr. Schultz for joining the, was it planning commission? And that's about it. I mean, as always, the DDA, you guys are super busy, doing an amazing job. I don't even know where I was, but somebody had brought up our DDA to me just out of the blue. And I don't even know if they knew, my position on council or that, they just brought it up without, the town is doing a great job, so, that's everything, thank you.
Thanks, Mom.
Nothing.
Welcome back, Mo.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Happy to have you.
Just wanna send my condolences out to Donna Lizardi, passed away this last month, and just thinking about the family and then everybody in the community, and just wanna put that out there.
Thank you. Allison?
I echo what the others have said, and Mo, I'm happy to have you here and hear your quips, your smart aleck responses.
That's all I got going for me, girl.
Got plenty going for you now.
Thanks. I just want to mention that on September 25th at 9 a.m. somehow we're going to have a joint we're having a joint water and sewer meeting, the village and the township of Oxford. So Supervisor Curtis wants to share information and see how we can work together on our water system's excess capacity and the fact that the township needs capacity. And so as part of my day job, I attend monthly water and sewer committee meetings for the township. And so I happen to be there, so now he gets to ask me all kinds of questions about the village while I happen to be there. And so I'm attending with my village hat, but the Water Resources Commissioner's office will also be attending the meeting. So
What's the objective?
I'm not sure exactly, so I think that's where
Let me know when you figure.
we're going with an open mind and.
No, it's good, it's good.
Yeah.
I don't understand the objective, but
Yeah, I know
we'll
generally.
see, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I know enough to hear, what's going on in the township, and they have a lot of, obviously growth and development and infrastructure needs and connection needs and stuff like that. So, Don Brantley's coming with us as well, so if any other council members are interested in attending,
One of you.
another person could also attend, so,
Just one.
yeah, just one, yeah.
When is it?
It is
When did it?
Monday, the 25th at 9 a.m. I know
I
that.
might be able to do that.
Okay. It'll be good to have I don't have any of the historical perspective of when maybe these discussions have happened in the past, and so just wanted to see what we can do to help each other out. But
There have been very loose discussions on this topic over the years, but nothing ever has resulted in a formal meeting of any sort.
okay. Mm-hmm.
But be interested to hear your take.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. I'll go and take one of the notes and see if we can see how Lion Joe and Don and all people come to, share any perspective. So I think it's always good to work together if there's a way to do it. So I think that's all I had. So we'll make it before 9 again, which is great. I'll move to adjourn at 8:46.
Support?
Okay, all those in favor